Welcome everyone to Tech Tots and Tales. I am your host, Ken, and this is the first episode. In this episode, I will introduce myself a little, and my family, and we'll go over a fun little soccer coach story that I have for you, from our first game last Saturday, and and then that'll do it. Like I said, my name is Ken. I am a work from home dad. I have 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls. I have been married to my wife, Savannah, for about 18, going on 19 years this July. I'm a pretty busy fella. Not to pat myself on the back, but let's go. Let me talk a little bit about my family here. Like I said, I've got 5 children. I've got, from youngest to oldest, I've got my niece, Hannah, who we've just about adopted at this point. We're still working on it. And it's just a really long process. Then we've got my biological son, one of my biological sons, Killian, who is 4. We've also got my nephew, Landon, who's 9, my niece, Madison, who is 15, and my oldest biological child is Michael. He's 16 and almost 17, and that is scary to me. And we'll get into that a little later. But anyways, I have been married for about 18, almost 19 years to my wife, Savannah. She's amazing. And also in my house or our house rather, is my mom. She is another person who I don't know where I would be, obviously, without her. She's amazing. So I am a work from home dad, and you're probably asking, well, what do you do from home? I am a software analyst is the actual fancy title. Basically, I help people that I work with purchase software. And with my team, we make sure everything that entails goes as smoothly as possible. I am also a Army vet. I did a tour in both Iraq and Afghanistan. I was in the aviation section of the Army. I was a 15 Sierra. For those of you who know what that means, and for those of you that don't know what that means, that is a helicopter mechanic. I worked on the OH-58 Delta, which is the Kiowa Warrior. It's a great helicopter, or it was. It has, probably a couple years ago now, a few years ago. Wow. It's been retired. They don't use it anymore. Which is sad because it really was a great helicopter. Anyways, that's probably all you'll really hear about my Army background. I have about 11-ish years worth of IT desk side support experience, and I am currently going to school to be a elementary school teacher, whether it be regular elementary school teacher or special needs teacher is yet to be determined. I have actually just started the process in figuring out what additional classes or training I need to take in order to do that. But it's something I'd really like to do. First of all, because I was one of those children that needed it when I was in school. And if I didn't have it, I don't know where, I don't know if I would have honestly even graduated. Um, and also my boys, and actually all my kids, really, they need it too. And I know that regular teachers are needed basically everywhere, and I can only imagine how badly special education teachers are needed. So my son Michael, who's a junior now in high school, he needs it, right? And it's hard for him to get the type of help he needs because you've got one teacher for almost 4 years worth of school in the high school. And that is insane to me. That's only not fair to the teacher, but it's really unfair to the children. So I recently, when I took my second youngest, Killian, to pre-K this fall, and we did the orientation and all that, and she was kind of talking about how at the time she didn't even have a teacher's assistant because they just couldn't. They didn't have enough people. There wasn't enough teachers, or weren't enough, people wanting to teach to do it. And that blew my mind because as a teacher, you almost cement yourself in that child's life, right? Especially if you're a good teacher. You can help that boy or girl, or, figure out who they are, what they like, what they don't like. You can be a part of their life, and that's just pretty cool to me. I really like kids, like, not in a creepy weird way, but I like watching children learn because it's like watching a light switch turn on for the first time, right? So I remember watching all my kids grow, right? Their first words, and when they learn how to walk, and all of that. And when they do something different, and they get the reaction that they want, right? So if they say, like today, for example, my baby Hannah, she just picked up a piece of paper off the floor and threw it away without any prompting. And it was great. I gave her, I clapped her, clapped my hand, told her she did a great job, and you should have seen the look on her face. It was like I just made her whole existence just by telling her she did a good job at something so simple. And that's the kind of stuff that I want to do. That's my big boy job. I call it, right? It's my big boy job. So, IT, I did that for a long time. I mean, I got my degree in IT, computer networking to be exact. I did that for 11 and a half, maybe 12 years. And I got bored with it because it's the same thing after a while, different companies, same problems, and it gets boring. And I recently moved to doing software analysis, which I talked about a little earlier, but that's not exactly riveting work. It's not world changing. And it sounds selfish, but I want to be a type of person that makes a difference to somebody, right? I want to be, I want to be that person that when, maybe a child grows up and they're giving some kind of speech for something, I'll say, hey, I remember when I was in elementary school and my teacher wouldn't let me quit on something. And that's how I became the person that I am now, where I just don't quit. That kind of thing. I worked for this company a while back, and somebody got an award. I can't remember what it was for, but that's the kind of speech they gave. And at the time I was like, bah. But now, I kind of want to be that person. Not kind of, I want to be that person. So, so that's why I want to be a teacher. I want to make a difference. And I think a good way to do that is just to be a great teacher. Because I know I've had a few great teachers, and one of them was my special ed teacher. And I know that I wouldn't be the person I am if there's few people in my life that I could say I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for them, right? You got your mom, obviously, my wife, and then a couple of teachers, one of them being her. She taught me how to be a upstanding citizen, I guess. Uh, anyways, I went off on a tangent on that, and I apologize, but it's something I really want to do. So, so that's really that's me in a nutshell, right? I've done IT. I was in the Army, married, have kids. And now I'm just kind of like, what's next? Besides being a teacher, I I feel like there's something missing. And so in comes the podcast, right? One of the things I wanted to do since I was a child is to be a radio personality. And I love music. I can't imagine not having music there, right? My dad was a DJ as I was growing up, and that was one of my favorite things was listening to him play music downstairs. And then you listen to the radio a lot. In the bus, on the way to school, on the way home from school, in the car. I mean, a lot of people I don't think realize how much music plays a part in their daily lives, right? I mean, think about it. What do you do when you need to just do nothing, right? When you just need some time to clear your head? You listen to music, or you read a book, or something like that. Something that doesn't require your immediate attention all the time. Like, you don't have to think too much, right? When you're listening to music, you're just enjoying the music. And most of the time it's music that you've listened to before, so you already know the words, and you're singing and bopping your head because you already know how it goes. Even with a book, even if it's a new book, if you're listening to it nowadays on Audible or however you listen to audiobooks, I just know Audiobooks, that's what I use. Or if you're reading it on a tablet, or if you actually have a hardcover book, chances are you're not really using all that much brain power. It's one of those things that you can do, at least at my age, and, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older, right? Or a lot older. I'm not gonna tell you how old I am. But anyways, those are the type of things you do, right? You listen to music, maybe watch a TV show, read a book. Just sit down and just, music is huge for me. It's how that's how I vocalize things that I can't say or don't know how to say. Is with a lyric, or I'll be listening to a certain kind of music, and that kind of tells everybody else, at least in my house, what is going on in my head, and they know whether I just need a little bit to clear out my head, or whether I want them to come in and dance and have fun. And you know what I mean? Just music can do that. Um, and I've always wanted to be a DJ, and this, for me, is probably the closest thing to that. So that's why podcasting. Because I didn't cut it. I don't cut it to be a radio personality, I don't think. So, I'm way over what I wanted to go. Well, not way over, only a few seconds over what I wanted to go. But I do want to tell you a story that I have. So one of the things I do with my kids is right now I coach soccer for them, for my 4-year-old son and my 9-year-old nephew. So 2 teams I coach. And the smallest team, my 3 and 4-year-old, they had their first game this past Saturday, and it was great. It was amazing to watch because they don't know the rules. They don't want to know the rules. They just want to put the ball in the goal. So it was so much fun. And the weather couldn't have been better for it. It was beautiful outside Saturday. So I couldn't have asked for a better day, a better game. The kids all had a great time. It was just amazing. And at the end of it, I asked the kids, I'm like, hey, you always all have a good time? And all of them had a good time. And I think we did a pretty good job, switching the kids out when it needed to be and all that. I probably could have done a little bit better at, giving kids longer breaks. But, it was the first game. And it's my first game ever of soccer. I've never played soccer before, so this is a new experience for me too. I've never played soccer at all. So I'm basically at the level of my son, Killian, when it comes to soccer. I don't know anything about it. And yes, they let people coach soccer if you don't know anything about it, believe it or not. Especially for like the park and rec teams, right? They just want somebody to volunteer that coach. They just want an adult to say, yep, I will be responsible for these kids for X amount of time. So, and then tomorrow is my 9 and 10-year-old team's first game. And my nephew's on that team, so that'll be interesting. In that league, they're a little bit more concerned about rules. And they actually use a goalie, and it's actually has a ref in it and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how everything goes because, like I said, I don't know a whole lot. And luckily, my wife is there to help me because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do it because I'm actually a disabled vet. So my back's all screwed up, and in my head, I'm in the right place, right? And sometimes I forget, and I volunteer for things like coaching, and just because I just want to do it. I want to coach. I want to be there with my kids, and I know one way that I can do it is to coach or go to a game, and that's what I did. I volunteered, and then I'm like, crap, I can't physically because I can't stand that long. I can't run up and down the field with the little guys and all, certain things. So my wife comes in and says, well, why don't I help you? She goes, it'd be good for me to get outside. And she's like, I'll be there. I, would be there for Killian at the very least anyways to watch the games. So why not? Why don't I just come and help you? Because then I have a reason to go on the field and help Killian, and then I also help the other kids. And I watched her with the children Saturday, and she was just great with them. Of course, I mean, she's got 5 kids of her own, but it just, to see her like that, she looked like she was so happy, and it was fun. It was just a great experience. So like I said, tomorrow I've got my 9-10-year-old team. And I've also got wrestling. Yes, I like professional wrestling to watch. And so I will have another episode for you guys on Tuesday. And I will definitely have soccer stories. And I'll probably have some wrestling stories about what I saw. And, whatever else pops up during the day. I just, things that happen, I like to just almost immediately tell a story. Like, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened. And it's coming to be summertime, so I'm going to have a ton of stories, right? So like I said, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to listen, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And I will talk to you all next time on Tech, Tots, and Tales. Have a good rest of your day.